What's up guys, my name is David and welcome back to Basically Star Wars, and I know I'm primarily a film and Star Wars channel, but The Last of Us Part 2 came out over a week ago, and that has just consumed my entire life. Playing this game, it was such an emotional experience, and I invested an entire week into this, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, so I thought, it's basically a movie that at some points you can play. I should talk about it and give you guys a review of The Last of Us Part 2. I will get into spoilers, but that will be later, and I will give you a fair warning. So first off, the gameplay. The gameplay in this game is incredible. This game is definitely much more violent than the first one and also has more stealth combat. This also gives us the ability that is prone. This is cool for hiding under tall grass, underneath stuff, and it just kind of plays into the whole stealth mechanic of this game. Cutscene transitions are so seamless. The actual cutscenes are scarily real, to the point where my dad walked in while I was playing and he thought I was watching a movie. But really, The Last of Us Part 2 is just an experience. When I had free time, all I wanted to do was play, and when I was doing something else, all I could think about was The Last of Us Part 2. If you are a fan of the first game in any way, I cannot recommend this game enough, and like I said, it's an experience, and it will just get you emotionally invested. I only played the first game like 2 months ago, and it's not an overstatement to say that game changed my life. The first one was also an amazing gaming experience, and I am so happy to say the second one is that as well. I'm going to talk about the story, but don't worry, it's only going to be for a couple minutes, and this part will be spoiler-free. My opinion on The Last of Us Part 2 story is that it's a bold tale with great themes and messages about revenge, morality, perspective, and most importantly, forgiveness. Once again, if you have an open mind and don't judge the game on leaks without playing it, you will really enjoy it, or hopefully enjoy it as much as me. I don't even love everything about this game, or think it's a masterpiece, or think it's better than the first one, because in my opinion, it's not. It is truly an amazing game, and I will give The Last of Us Part 2 an A-. Okay, here we go. Spoilers, spoiler. Now going into spoilers, you have been warned. Please click off now. Okay, you're still here, let's get into it. I stayed out of the loop when it came to this game, but I kept hearing about the SJW propaganda in this game, so let's talk about that real quick. Ellie is gay, and then later we meet a trans boy. Welcome to 2020, where representation is going to be in mainstream media. If you still can't get over that, don't buy the game, but it's not like they need your money because this is the fastest selling PS4 exclusive. Okay, now let's finally get into the actual story. So the catalyst of this game is, that's right, Joel dies. He doesn't just die, he gets brutally murdered. It is, oh my god, that moment. Good god. Let's actually talk about that moment. People don't like that moment, of course, because, Joel dies. It's sad, no one likes that moment. But people are upset. He thinks he's out of character when he dies. I really disagree with this criticism. So Joel saves this character named Abby, who, trust me, we will talk all about her. But Joel saves her, then Abby takes him and Tommy back to her house with her friends, and then she shoots him in the knee and beats him with a golf club. People are saying, no, Joel would never do that. He would never go into a house. He would never be that nice. Joel wouldn't do that. The first game is all about him regaining his humanity, and he regains that through Ellie, and Jackson, the place where they are living, is basically the sanctuary where people are coming in and out. It would make no sense for Joel to suddenly become this hardened survival warrior when these people who at the moment don't pose much of a threat, they're near the sanctuary, maybe they're looking for Jackson. He has no reason to be all defensive at the moment. Plus, once again, the Joel we saw in the first game, that's a different Joel. That Joel died in a positive way, if death can be positive. He died when he met and came to love Ellie. So I have no problem with everything leading up to Joel's death. Of course, his death is sad. I knew this death was going to happen. That's the one thing I was spoiled on, but I still cried. Like I said, his death is the catalyst for the story, and then Ellie goes on a revenge quest to murder Abby. Like I said, I cried when Joel died. It is an emotional, violent, gut-wrenching moment. But there is this part where Ellie and Dina are riding through the woods and they are just listing off people that Joel has pissed off. But in that moment, I said out loud while I was playing, I guess maybe he kind of deserved it. Joel is an awesome character. We have loved him, well, fans who have played it before me, people have loved him for the past 7 years. He is a great character and a great father for Ellie, but is he a good person? Absolutely not. There are dozens, if not hundreds of people who have a very just reason for wanting Joel dead. That's just the way the Last of Us world works, and at the end of the first game, we know he made the wrong and selfish choice. It made sense for his character and his character arc, but it was still the wrong and selfish choice. But once again, let me say, Joel's death was sad and I cried. I don't like seeing Joel be beaten up. Obviously, I'm a human and I like the character of Joel Miller. But people are putting him up on this pedestal like he's a saint, and they're just upset at the sheer fact that he died. There's problems with this story, especially at the end, which we will talk about, trust me, but just the simple fact that Joel died does not bother me. I said that wrong. Of course it bothers me. Joel died. I don't want that to happen. But I mean, it's not a storytelling flaw. So now we get into the most controversial part of the game. We are playing as Ellie for 15 hours. Her story's coming to an end. We're on a revenge mission. We're killing friend after friend after friend. We're trying to get to Abby. And then Abby has Ellie at gunpoint. Boom, cut to black. We are now playing as Abby. That is right, we are now playing as Joel's killer. I thought it would be maybe for like an hour, maybe 2. This goes on for like 6 hours. Whether or not you like this game, rest on this decision. They put all of their eggs in this basket. So let's get into what I liked about playing as Abby. My cousin on multiple occasions has told me you are such a Slytherin in the way you consume media. And what she means by that is I like villains and understanding villains way too much. The Skywalker Saga, The Dark Knight, Infinity Wars, all fantastic movies. Why are they so fantastic? Because we understand the villain. Darth Vader, the Joker, and Thanos are moral scumbags, but they still have their point of view, and I love understanding that point of view because that makes for a good and compelling story. When we play as Abby and we humanize her, that is interesting, at least for me. Especially in this world where basic morality does not exist. Good and evil don't exist in the Last of Us world. Everybody is evil in their own way. When you play as Abby, you figure out that her father was the surgeon that was about to operate on Ellie, and if you play the first game, Joel murders him. In this moment, we see Abby's point of view. And I say this once again, if you like or don't like this game, it all comes down to this decision. Naughty Dog took a risk, and people aren't really liking it, but I thought it was brilliant. In some way, it was brilliant. It was jarring, it's uncomfortable, you have to see the morality of the killer, of the character that we love. That is really interesting. Later, Abby meets up with this kid named Lev, and like I said in the beginning, there is a trans boy. This is the trans boy. The whole point of Lev, the reason for the character of Lev, is to have Abby have her Ellie. Abby is Joel, and Lev is Ellie. This is to show that the morality of Abby, once you get to meet her and once you get to humanize her, she is not that much different from Joel or Ellie. However, playing as Abby isn't all good. There are serious problems with that choice, but it doesn't come down to, we're playing as Joel's killer and I don't like that. She's mean, and she is. She killed a character that I love, and I'm sure you love as well, but I still appreciate the artistic choice. You guys know it. But here's my biggest problem with the whole Abby thing. We play as her for about 5 to 6 hours. I swear to God, it feels like 10. Once we are introduced to Lev and their friendship and their bond is starting to form, then it gets more interesting. But until that point, it gets so incredibly boring. Biggest problems when it comes to Abby is that her story and Ellie's story don't directly connect. They connect in the large sense of morality, but they don't connect in just the sense of they don't connect. Ellie is never mentioned through this entire 5 hours of playtime. Abby doesn't know who Ellie is. There's some cool lore in the Abby gameplay, but I mean, it's tedious, it's boring, and after all, she is still Joel's killer, and even though I like that choice, I mean, it's still Joel's killer. You want the story to progress, you want to move on, and to top it all off, it doesn't directly connect with Ellie's story, so it can definitely slow it down. But overall, I appreciated the boldness of this choice so much. So at the end of Abby's story, as Abby, we come across, our dead friends, the ones that Ellie killed. Abby goes to find Ellie to presumably kill her. She ends up killing Jesse, one of our friends. I love Jesse. He was really cool. I hated when he died. We cut to 1 year later, and Ellie and Dina are living on this farm. They have a house. Dina gave birth to her baby. Everything is generally okay for them. We are quickly approaching the ending here, and this is the part of the game where I really loved it when I was first playing it, but now having a couple days to think about it, I don't know how to feel. I thought the game would end on the farm and Ellie would somehow come to peace with Joel's death, and at least she would have her wife, girlfriend, whatever you want to call Dina at that point, and her baby. And we would have some flashbacks and she would come to peace. Nope, we go back to kill Ellie. There is 3 more hours left of this game. We are back on the hunt to kill Abby, but at this point in the game, you are supposed to fully acknowledge that Ellie is just completely wrong. She's like, her enemy gave her a chance. She showed her mercy, but it's not enough for her. Find Abby captured by these slavers. They have her tied up. She looks completely different. Her hair is short. I missed her. Like, when you have to find her on, like, the pole that she's tied up on, I completely missed her the first time. She just looks completely different, and she is completely different. She's kind of dead in some way. So Ellie unties her, she unties Lev, they walk back to these boats, and then Ellie gets PTSD again, and she's like, I have to fight you. This is a gruesome battle, and Ellie actually gets 2 of her fingers bitten off. Ellie is about to kill Abby, she's about to drown her in the water, she's about to get her vengeance, but then we get a flashback to Joel, just a quick flashback, and then she lets her go. It doesn't happen all at once, but then later we figure out that that flashback was her and Joel's final interaction. In this final conversation that she has with Joel, she was on a path of forgiving him for his choice at the end of the first game. There's also this line that Joel says, and it's so perfect, let me just show you.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
I love that line. It just shows how much Joel loves Ellie. But going back to the fight, Ellie sees what revenge got Abby, and that's pretty much nothing. All her friends are dead, she's dead in some way, it wasn't as satisfying or rewarding as Abby thought it was going to be, so she sees what revenge got Abby. Also, the whole point and theme of the game is the circle of violence. If Ellie does go through with killing Abby, Lev will absolutely come after Ellie, and the only way to prevent that is by killing Lev, and if you kill Lev, if you kill an innocent child, you have become the villain. I really do want to wrap my head around the choice of Ellie not killing Abby because I want to be in some ways happy with the ending or accept the ending for what it is and not want a different ending, but at the same time, I can't help but want a different ending. Because this is the part that bugs me the most. In trying to kill Abby and trying to get to Abby, just in the last 3 hours of the game alone, we killed at least 50 people. No one in this Last of Us world is good, and Ellie is already a mess. If she does or doesn't kill Abby, I'm having a very hard time accepting that that one choice determines her humanity and morality. I guess what the ending was trying to do is that she does honor what she says in her final interaction with Joel, and that is that she's trying to forgive. She forgives a different person in a different way, and she also ends the cycle with violence, so the ending is trying to say that that's how she finds her peace. She also finds peace by finally letting go of Joel in the final shot of the game. I get that it's supposed to be a depressing ending, but something that Jeremy Johns said in his review is that I wish Ellie got something.
It's like the phrase, at the very least, at the very least, give Ellie X. It never happens. She never gets any of the very leasts, At the very least, have her get her revenge. Doesn't happen. At the very least, don't have the people she loves leave her. Doesn't happen. Like, Ellie's she's in the worst spot at the end of this game. She doesn't get anything.
Yeah, and it's very depressing, and because Ellie didn't get anything, it feels like we didn't get anything. However, that is the ending. Neil Druckmann is a great director, obviously. He directed the first one. He is a genius director, and he wanted this ending, he wanted the reaction for this ending to be the way it is right now, very divisive, and people are talking about and analyzing it a lot. So he achieved his goal. It was a very bold narrative choice, and overall, I liked it. Also, this kind of relates to something that Troy Baker, the actor of Joel, said, and that's that this game is more than a game. In some ways, and this is kind of pretentious, but still, it's gonna be like classic literature or classic films. People will debate the ending of this game for decades and decades to come. The ending of this story is totally something I would read in one of my short stories for English class. There is no right or wrong way to feel about it. But just that bold and artistic choice alone, I love. So there's so much to appreciate about this game, at least for me. In conclusion, I really love and appreciate The Last of Us 2. I thought it was a bold and engaging tale about revenge, forgiveness, perspective, morality, all of the stuff. It was really interesting. I had a blast playing it because it was fun gameplay, and the ending just gets me thinking, and that's good. So there you have it. That is my full discussion and breakdown of The Last of Us Part 2. Let me know what you guys thought about this game. I was gonna say movie. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. I will see you in the next video. May your survival be long, may your death be swift, and may the force be with you.